thank you for being here. I don't normally go in depth to things. I like to keep it broad so people can see the bigger picture, but this Bubbas Noose needs to be taken in depth so that you guys can understand exactly what happened. So this was an operation, a PSYOP. People don't realize there was a battle between the FBI and NASCAR that took place on June 22nd. It was a battle. And who was the casualty? It was Bubba Wallace. He was a scapegoat, what I like to call a casualty of the media. So it's NASCAR and the media versus the FBI, so to speak. And this all began on April 17th, 2020. So on April 17th, there was an incident and Bubba Wallace was attacked by Kyle Larson. They were playing this virtual game, and Kyle Larson must have thought that the mic was off, so he ended up saying the N-word. You guys can watch it, it's out there. But that was the first thing that happened on April 17th, 2020. So at this point, I think that's when the media or whoever took notice about that this guy could be manipulated. Now, Bubba tweeted about this, but it's been deleted. I'm gonna put on the link so you guys can see it. But he talks about how he's on a pedestal. And I think they saw that he could be manipulated because he was really feeling this. And he's the only black guy in NASCAR, so the opportunity was there. They saw the opportunity, and I think they put the plan together then. So that was April. Fast forward to June. So this was one of the goals, to ban the Confederate flag. However you feel about it, just bear with me here. This is one of the goals. So June 10th, USA Today was talking about Monday, June 8th. Monday night on CNN, NASCAR driver Darrell Bubba Wallace told Don Lemon, this is his first appearance of many, he thought that NASCAR needed to ban the Confederate flag from its events as one way to demonstrate its commitment to fighting racism. By Wednesday afternoon, NASCAR had in fact banned the symbol of slavery and injustice. So imagine the power he must have felt. He just told NASCAR to do something, and they did it. But what he didn't know was NASCAR was in on this, and they played him. Integral in leading NASCAR's anti-racism efforts, Wallace, who was racing Wednesday at the Martinsville Speedway with a Black Lives Matter paint scheme on his number 43 Chevrolet, initially just clapped when Fox Sports asked for his reaction on the banned flag. He gave NASCAR credit for the move and called it a huge pivotal moment for the sport. So the same day, I'm going to keep saying that because this happened so fast. This is sporting news. Everything aligned perfectly for Bubba Wallace to be able to make a statement with the paint scheme on his number 43 Richard Petty Motorsports Chevrolet during Wednesday night's NASCAR Cup Series race at Martinsville Speedway. Wallace, a 24-year-old, is the only black driver in NASCAR's top 3 series, has been a leader in the sport amid global protests of racial injustice after the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and others at the hands of police, aka a perfect target. He wore a Black Lives Matter t-shirt during the race ceremonies last week at Atlanta and later called upon NASCAR to ban all Confederate flags from racetracks. His next action was scheduled for Wednesday night, and it will come from his car. They say Wednesday, but it's the same day. So that night, or that day, they banned the flag, and then that night, his car is being done over in BLM. So it's a BLM car now. So that was June 10th. This is before the whole news thing, everything. So that's the goal, to ban the flag, to have the BLM car out there. So the goal is done. This is what's kind of confusing for even me, why they even pushed it, because people are kind of upset, but nobody gives a crap about NASCAR, honestly. So now we have the news thing. So this is the official investigation timeline from NASCAR, and it starts Sunday, June 21st. 4:30 p.m., NASCAR alerted to the presence of the news by a number 43 team. NASCAR security performs a full sweep of the garage. Only the pull rope of 43 team was discovered to be a noose. All others were regular ropes. So, first sentence, NASCAR alerted to the presence of the noose by member of number 43 team. This member is a nobody. He doesn't exist. He's never named anywhere in the FBI, in NASCAR, in nothing. It's fake. He doesn't exist. It was NASCAR that invented this. So, now I want to point out, NASCAR has cameras. There's millions of dollars worth of equipment in there. It's like another Jeffrey Epstein missing video thing. Like, they have the videos. So at 6 p.m., NASCAR senior leadership meets, determines the need for investigation, begins initial steps of the investigation, aka the operation. So at 6 p.m. 7:30 p.m., NASCAR President Steve Phelps notifies Bubba Wallace of the noose discovered in garage. This is important because it's at 7:30. They must have told him to wait because they notified him at 7:30. 10:40 is when NASCAR released a statement after continuing to gather facts and further investigation. So 10:40, NASCAR finally puts out the statement after they knew about it, or they told Bubba at 7:30. So 10:40, and then 10:53 p.m., Bubba tweets. So it's 13 minutes after. And his tweet about this is written in his notes. Like, I want you guys to understand that since he was told, he had this ready to go. He was told to wait. It's why it was in his notes. That's why he literally tweeted his notes, because he had it ready to go and couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to tweet this because it was going to be his time. So this was all Sunday, and the news, it's Sunday, so Monday morning, what do we got? The news. This was Sunday night, you got the morning news Monday. And it's crazy because it's really hard to find anything that happened Monday, even though that's when it broke. You have to look at local news coverage that has the actual footage of the national news saying anything. Like, the national news blocked this out like it didn't even happen on Monday. They act like it happened on the 23rd. So early Monday a.m., FBI Birmingham office reaches out to NASCAR. This was a courtesy call. They were already on their way. Because at 10 a.m., the FBI arrives at Talladega Superspeedway with the 15 field agents ready to begin investigation. NASCAR provides the FBI with a list of personnel with access to the garage, as well as video and images taken from the weekend of the 2019 fall weekend as well. So, going back here, that was Sunday night. They don't give it time. They're going to do this again. It just says early Monday a.m. FBI Birmingham office reaches out to NASCAR. They were on their way. They were on top of this. They knew that it was a PSYOP, and they were coming there to shut it down. So 10 a.m. they get there. 10:37 a.m. TMZ reports that they had just added "I stand with Bubba" in white paint on the track's grass for today's race. So, like, things were in motion as the FBI's getting there to try and shut it down. Like, it's already going. They weren't waiting for any kind of investigation. People think that NASCAR invited the FBI or something. The FBI came on their own to shut this down. because they knew what it was. Over the course of the day, FBI interviews race teams personnel from multiple teams, NASCAR officials, track fire and safety personnel, and the track custodial staff. Talladega Superspeedway also provides the FBI with lists of current events that take place since October 2019, which is when the new garages opened. So, this is June 22nd now, the next day. Or the same day, I'm sorry. So I mean, this all happening within a course of 3 days. NASCAR stands with Bubba Wallace. Prior to the start of Monday's rain-delayed Geico 500 at Talladega Superspeedway, drivers and crew members offered a unified show of support for Wallace when they pushed his number 43 Richard Petty Motorsports Chevrolet to the front of the grid during pre-race activities. Wallace was inside the car. A face mask and sunglasses covered his face. When he got out, though, Wallace's emotions were on full display as he rested his head atop the hands of his hood, body shaking with tears. Team owner Richard Petty had not attended the race since the COVID-19 pandemic began. Wonder why. Put a hand on Wallace's back to steady him. Petty arrived at Talladega on Monday morning to support his driver. Why would he arrive Monday morning? The FBI arrived Monday morning. So, you have to watch this video.
Welcome to Talladega, where we try for the second day to get 500 miles of racing in. Weather prevented that yesterday. King Richard Petty's here. And this was just recently painted in the tri-oval grass. All of NASCAR's drivers have rallied around Bubba Wallace, the NASCAR Cup Series lone black driver, after what happened here yesterday afternoon. The drivers, led by reigning Cup Series champion Kyle Busch in green, and their crews, the entire garage area, has rallied around Bubba Wallace and the number 43 today. Because yesterday afternoon, a noose was found hanging in the garage stall of Bubba's race car. In the NASCAR Cup garage area, a secure area where access is limited to competitors, officials, and track staff. A despicable act by someone flying directly in the face of NASCAR's efforts to build a culture that is diverse, equal, and welcome. That's why Richard Petty is here today, and why Ryan Blaney, Bubba's friends, competitors, and on-track foes have closed ranks around him. When that window net goes up later today, racing is the great equalizer. Everybody's 6'4", 240 pounds. Everybody has 600 horsepower. No one is white, black, brown, or yellow. They are all racers, and they are all our heroes. Offering today's invocation, President and CEO of Motor Racing Outrage, Billy Malden.
Okay, so you guys just watched that. It's a show. It's a show. If you guys didn't see it, it wouldn't mean anything. It's meant for you to be seen. And the FBI was there during all that. That whole thing, the FBI was there in the morning investigating this. They didn't think this wasn't an overreaction by NASCAR. This was an operation. So by the end of the day, FBI reports interviews are complete for the day, and evidence at that point was inconclusive, with plans to continue its investigation the next morning. I wish I could be a fly on the wall for that conversation, because it just so happens the next morning, we're on June 23rd now, And they say early Tuesday a.m., never a time, NASCAR magically receives an additional video and provides it to the FBI. The video corroborated the testimony from one of the interviews the FBI conducted earlier that the Noose was present in that stall during the fall 2019 Cup event. So, it's this mystery person I keep saying who started all this, the one that actually saw it. He's a mystery person. The U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI informed NASCAR their investigation had conclusively found this was not a hate crime, which is what they're there for, a federal offense, a hate crime. So at 4:10 p.m., the FBI releases a statement indicating the findings of the investigation. 4:15, after a waiting signal from the FBI, NASCAR releases a statement on the FBI investigation with teleconference that follows. So, after a waiting signal from the FBI, 7:31, same day, a couple hours later, NASCAR, this is their cover-up. NASCAR followed joint statement with its own remarks Tuesday, stating that the photographic evidence confirmed that the knotted rope used as garage door pull had been in place before last weekend. A NASCAR spokesperson said that the number 4 space in the Cup Series garage was the only stall found with the door pull fashioned into a noose. Which is true, because first we had the picture of just a simple knot, and now we have this picture of the pull rope used, shaped like a noose. It just came out of nowhere because the FBI was there. It got real for them, so they had to produce something. This was obviously well before the 43 team's arrival and garage assignment. NASCAR statement read in part, "We appreciate the FBI's quick and thorough investigation and are thankful to learn this was not an intentional racist act against Bubba." They were not appreciative the FBI was there, I can promise you that. They screwed things up for this story. Wallace, the Cup Series lone black driver, has become more outspoken in recent weeks as he has championed the causes to fight racial injustice. Other drivers in the NASCAR garage have rallied behind this message and showed their support Monday before the Geico 500 at Talladega. "I was just relieved, like many others, to know that it wasn't targeted towards me," Wallace said on Wednesday's Today show on NBC, "but it's still frustrating to know that people are always going to test you and always going to try to debunk you." Yes, that is what, because this is all fake. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around right now. From people saying I'm a fake and that I reported it when the news was brought to me, it was information that was brought to me that was already reported. Correct. NASCAR told him this and he went with it. So thank you, the FBI, for calling us out. The current director of the FBI is Christopher A. Wray, who assumed the role on August 2nd, 2017 after being confirmed by the United States Senate, taking over acting director Andrew McCabe after the dismissal of the former director James Comey by President Trump. So Trump replaced Comey. This is what we got, an FBI that actually is doing their job. This was a PSYOP, and it was orchestrated by the mainstream media and NASCAR to push ahead this racial agenda, and it's been foiled by the FBI, thank God. That's why we're seeing the memes and stuff, people are catching on. Like I said, this was a mini battle fought over the course of just a few days. It's all happened so fast. The truth is that NASCAR doesn't give a shit about its fans. Doesn't care if people are going to watch it. Doesn't give a shit about Bubba Wallace or Black Lives Matter. The media told NASCAR what to do and what the story was going to be. And NASCAR and the media played Bubba Wallace because he was an easy target in light of this racial divide. So I'm going to play some other clips now of all this so you can get full understanding now that I explained it, and just listen to Bubba talk, because you can just tell that he's being played here. He wants to believe the story. He's liking the fame and the position that he's in, but like I said, this is what I call a media casualty. they just used him, and you're probably not going to hear from him again for a while. And nobody's going to watch NASCAR, nobody's going to watch him. It's just a further way to divide us, because now we have this NASCAR thing that apparently there's racists now that hang nooses at NASCAR, and it's completely false. This is PSYOP. Nothing happened. This was NASCAR doing all this. Like I said, they don't care about their fans. They don't care about anything. They're following orders. So that's my in-depth review. I don't like to do this often, but I feel like it was definitely needed in this case, because everybody's sort of awake that this was all bullshit. So thank you for watching.
Now from Bubba Wallace himself, he is back with me tonight. Bubba, good evening to you. I think you've handled this like a champ, and I'm appreciative that you came to speak to us tonight, because we first talked about the Confederate flag on this show and many other issues. So again, thank you. So much has happened just in the last few hours. A federal investigation shows that this wasn't a hate crime. Talk to me about what's going through your head. How are you feeling right now? I can't hear Bubba. Bubba, we lost your audio. There we go.
I'm sorry.
Talk to me about how you're feeling right now.
I'm pissed. I'm mad because people are trying to test my character and the person that I am and my integrity, and they're not stealing that away from me, but they're just trying to test that. And as a person, Don, that doesn't need the fame, doesn't need the hype, doesn't need the media, I could care less. I could give two craps about that. But to sit there and read, and that's my problem. I'm reading too much into it and investing too much time into it. I am.
Don't
I
do
know.
that.
I know. I'm trying hard not to, and after tonight, I'll probably turn my phone off. Unfortunately, until about 7:30 in the morning, where the interviews start back up again, and we get to it all over. But Don, to hear my side of the story, and I don't mean to steal your spotlight of the show, but my side needs to be heard. I don't know what time it was, about 5:30, 6 o'clock on Sunday evening after the race has been called. Garages are closed. My crew is on a plane back to North Carolina. I was about to go out to dinner with a couple of fellow competitors, and we were talking about what time we were going to leave, where we were going, and I get a phone call from, I'm in my motorhome. I get a phone call from the president, Steve Phelps, and it's a phone call, Don, that I'll never forget. It's one of those phone calls where you can automatically tell within the first couple seconds that something's wrong. Mm-hmm. And it immediately made me think of, oh, what did I do? What am I getting suspended for? Like, what did I say wrong in an interview? Whatever it was. And so I'm thinking all the bad things or whatever it could have been that I had done, whatever I said. So he's like, we need to talk in person. So I'm like, okay. So he walks down the motorhome, opens up the door, and the look that he had on his face alerted me in a way that I'll never forget as well. And it's still thinking like, okay, what did I do? Let me know. And now, mind you, I got to the racetrack at, I don't remember what time, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and slept all day just because that's all we were able to do, go straight to my motorhome. That's the only place where I'm allowed to go. I'm not allowed to be in the garage. Mm-hmm. But the conversation that I had with Steve Phelps was, I would say, and I'm speaking for him, I would probably say one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing he's ever had to tell somebody. Tears rolling down his face, choked up on every word that he was trying to say, that the evidence that he had brought to me that a hate crime was committed, quote unquote. And I immediately thought my family was in danger. And so I was about ready to call my mom and dad and to make sure everybody was okay. But it was in the garage stall that our car was at. And so I was kind of like taken back and not really comprehending everything. I was just like, what? But the way that I was communicating, like Steve was communicating to me that everything was going on, it showed the testament to him and the character that he has and how he's representing the sport and how he wants to stand up for what's right. And he's not going to tolerate any racist acts or anything. And I stand behind Steve. I stand behind NASCAR. And like they said in their statements, if it happened again, they wouldn't change anything. They would do it all over again.
Well,
But I never seen the noose. I never reported it. Like I said, I was going to dinner
let me
to
jump in here,
enjoy
Bubba,
time.
because
Yeah.
no one is accusing you of doing anything wrong. And the knuckleheads who are
Oh, they
criticizing
are,
you,
though.
I should, no, but you can't worry about that. Not anyone with any sense. And fair-minded people are not accusing you of doing anything wrong. You were simply reacting to what the head of NASCAR told you happened. Now listen, this is how I feel about it, okay? And people can think what they want. Did NASCAR get it wrong? No, I shouldn't say that. Did they jump the gun? Maybe, yes. But I am extremely happy with what, and I think most Americans are, what NASCAR is doing. And I think in this environment, and I have said it before, this hypercharged environment, that we should all cut each other some slack, okay? Because if NASCAR hadn't done the right thing, if they didn't act the way they did, then people would be criticizing them for moving slowly. And so I think what they said was, we are investigating. And they investigated. And they found out that it wasn't a hate crime. So did they perhaps act quickly? Yes. Did they get it wrong? Somewhat. But I think that people will forgive them for this mistake because of the times that we're in. And so, I think that you have conducted yourself amazingly. So I don't think you should be worried about that. I think that you and NASCAR should pick up from here, go on, and continue to do what you're doing. You have the support of all of your team members in NASCAR. And so look at this as something that happens when you are evolving and changing. Everything is not perfect. And I mean that about everyone. We're in such a hypercharged environment with the coronavirus, with racism, with watching people die on television, with seeing Confederate flags that were banned. Let's not forget, the people out there still feel a certain kind of way about you and about that flag. So I don't think that that you should feel badly about what happened.
No, I know, and I'm with you on that. I appreciate those words, and you talked about it earlier. The people don't want to hear the truth, and people that want to know me and want to get to know me, the new fans that have come into the sport, I appreciate it. One thing you'll never take away from me is how 100% I am, how raw I am, how real I am, and how I'll shoot it to you straight each and every time, because that's how I was brought up and that's what I stand by. And in my statement on Sunday night, this will not break me. None of the allegations of being a hoax will break me or tear me down. Will it piss me off? Absolutely, but that only fuels the competitive drive in me to shut everybody up, to get back out on the racetrack next weekend in Pocono and showcase what I can do behind the wheel under tremendous amounts of BS, whatever it is you want to say. It won't break me. You won't tear me down. Again, I will still stand proud of where I'm at.
You're going to continue to be out front, right?
That's it. That's all you got to do.
So I mentioned this when we talked about the flags, because the reports about a news came on the same day. And so this is why you can understand somewhat what happened. On the same day that we saw a Confederate flag flying over Talladega that said, defund NASCAR, people had flags on their trucks and on their cars, and they were, across the street, as I understand, from the race. Do you think the controversy over that flag issue affected the response to this incident?
I think so. I mean, we were worried about, as NASCAR was worried about, Talladega, being there and knowing we were allowing fans back, and some of the most passionate fans are down there. Talladega is one of the best racetracks to go to. It's we always tell new fans and family and friends that Talladega is one of the races you need to go to just because of the atmosphere there. I've always loved going to Talladega, but we had that one circled on the radar with everything going around. Let's just be extra careful. So absolutely, I think that definitely intensified everything that went on, and unfortunate that everything played out the way it did. But there has some parallels to that for sure.
Have you seen ropes like that hanging from garages? Is that typical?
Don, the image that I have and I have seen of what was hanging in my garage is not a garage pool. I've been racing all my life. We've raced out of hundreds of garages that never had garage pools like that. So people that want to call it a garage pool and put out old videos and photos of knots being in their as their evidence, go ahead. But from the evidence that we have, that I have. It's a straight up noose. The FBI has stated it was a noose over and over again. NASCAR leadership has stated that it was a noose. I can confirm that. I actually got evidence of what was hanging in my garage, over my car, around my picker guys, to confirm that it was a noose. And never seen anything like it. It's not something I talked to my crew chief about it. I said, is this something like, I wanted to make sure we weren't jumping the gun. And I said, this isn't a knot. This isn't just a regular old, He's like, Bubba, this isn't something that can be done within a second of just tying a knot and being on the way. This is something that took time.
So what are you saying here? Are you saying that you don't believe? Do you believe that it was intended for you in that way, or what are you saying here?
It was a noose. It was a noose that was whether tied in 2019 or whatever. It was a noose. So it wasn't directed at me, but somebody tied a noose. That's what I am saying.